So recently, people have started to notice that after years of leaving their Nintendo Wii U unplugged, they go back to plug it back in, maybe play some old games and stuff, and it's bricked. And we end up finding out it's due to a bug in the system, really honestly, probably just lower quality NAND flash memory where it loses its memory over time. How's this possible? So how could this happen? Because like I plugged my Super Nintendo in years and years again, over and over again, and it's still working, even if it's like been unplugged for a couple of years. So why would the Wii U be having problems? Well, it comes down probably a lot to the quality of the NAND flash memory it was selected to be used in the Wii U, but also to the fact of just the way NAND flash memory works. You see, cartridges like this for the Super Nintendo, and even up to like the N64 days, when there was far less memory that had to be saved on these, the way that they built the memory on there was called a mask ROM. And what it was is the memory, after they knew what they were like trying to store on here, they physically built the circuits to hold the data on here, just like they were building the circuits for like a CPU or something else like that. So it was actually, the memory was actually manufactured from the ground up to be like Sunset Riders, Super Mario World, Super Mario Brothers 3. And so that's one of the reasons that the ROMs in these are pretty much indestructible and are pretty hard to kill off. A lot of times if I have a problem with these, it's usually the connectors on the boards, and there's plenty of boards out there that people sell aftermarket that I can just like remove the ROM chips, put them on a new board. Game works great again. But as computers have progressed, the amount of data we need to store is much greater. Games are many, many thousands of times larger than they used to be in the past. And so we need solutions to hold greater amounts of storage. And that's where solutions like NAND flash came in. And the way NAND flash basically works, it's called a charge trap cell, or some people call it charge trap storage. And so the ones at about the time that the Wii U came out, typically we could only store like 1 bit per cell. Now we're getting up to like 3 bits per cell. So we can handle like a little bit more data in there. But SSDs like this, and this is the little upgrade SSD for the Xbox Series X. This is 1 terabyte and it's tiny. And the way it works is there's microchips in here that hold millions and millions and millions of memory cells that are effectively either holding a charge or not holding a charge. And that's where the charge trap comes in. So the way I understand it on most of these, if it's not holding a charge, it sees it as a 1. If it is holding a charge, it sees it as a 0. If you don't use this kind of memory, and typically really good memory will last a very, very long time. And honestly, the amount of charge that a charge trap needs to hold is pretty minuscule. So in some cases, these things could probably hold like a charge up to like 20 years. But it's kind of debatable on what that time is. But the thing is they will degrade over time. And that's exactly what's happened to the Wii U here in this instance, is people haven't plugged it in, people haven't used it for a period of time. So some of the cells have degraded, they lost their charge, and now that NAND flash inside the Wii U has been corrupted to the point where it can no longer boot, and it's not really recoverable unless you actually like backed up the flash and know how to reflash it and all that stuff, and that's beyond what most people are able to do. And this is even a concern for me as I have like newer like Nintendo Switch games and stuff. And the truth is, all these little cartridges are NAND flash. So it's doing the same thing. So after a period of time, this could degrade to the point where this will become corrupted. Now, does that mean that I believe that like all your Switch carts are going to be corrupted in a couple of years if you don't play them? No, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it'd take quite a while because there's different types of NAND flash out there for different qualities and like I said, different hold rates and everything for the charge traps themselves. But it seems like this has to do more with like a little bit of degradation and more so like with an actual like software bug inside the Wii U. So as to what's actually really causing this, it's being pointed out that once your NAND flash is a little bit corrupted, it's probably not coming back, and that's unfortunate. But this is even a concern for retro games, for instance. So for instance here's Sunset Riders. This is a real version of it. It uses a mask ROM. One of the most expensive games on the Super Nintendo that I like, but I was not going to pay $300 for, is Wild Guns. And so this is a reproduction cart, officially made by, I forget where I got this, but it's, an actual licensed reproduction. And it is, unfortunately, NAND flash. So over a period of time, this could degrade. And so while it's a lot cheaper to get repros here and there, it is kind of a coin toss. So like, I know my Zelda is going to last for a while, but I have this Avenging Spirit, which is a repro, and who knows? I don't know if it's NAND flash in there. I don't know if it's an actual mask ROM or what their quality is, but that is a bit of something that's really, I wouldn't even say it's like that big a risk. I would imagine that this will still last a very, very long time. But it's great to have these because stuff like this, like Shantae for the Game Boy Color, it's great to have a reproduction of it, because if you just want to cartridge the slot into your Game Boy and you want to play it the way it was meant to be played, that's fantastic. And the other upside to that is I don't have to pay a crap ton of money. But the reason NAND flash has become so popular is because of the amount of storage that we need to hold and the overall low cost. It just basically comes down to same reason FPGAs are taking over for a lot of ASICs and a lot of electronic hardware, and why it's becoming popular, because it can be the same chip produced over and over and over again, and that drives costs down, but you can ultimately program that chip to do or be or whatever kind of job you need to handle, instead of like a specialized ASIC for that one thing. And it's much the same in the memory area. There was cost associated with producing these mask ROMs because they were physically being built to be whatever they needed to hold. When it comes to NAND flash, they're making a lot of these chips, they're made to the same density, and depending on the type of data you need to put on there, you just flash the chip, and the charge gates, where they're holding like a 1 or a 0 in there, is really how it's holding the memory. So they don't have to like actually go in and physically build it like they used to anymore. There was a point in time where with like certain ASICs, it was overall like the only solution or the cheaper solution. But just like with ASICs, it's gotten cheaper to use FPGAs, and just like with memory, it's gotten cheaper to use NAND flash as opposed to actually going in and making a mask ROM. But do we need to worry about this? Probably not. This is the first case where we've actually had, like maybe with like a little bit of a software bug and some degradation on the NAND flash, where we have actually started to see some game consoles themselves give up the ghost and just get bricked. So like, is your Switch game collection going to outlast a Super Nintendo game collection? Well, in the terms of the actual ROM chips themselves, probably not. But this is unfortunately why NAND flash and why Wii U's are failing out there. And yeah, so NAND flash, a little bit be concerned about over something like a mask ROM, but I would say at the end of the day, it'll probably be pretty immaterial as people start to figure out how to restore these things, how to reflash them. All right, I just want to make you guys aware because I've been seeing this come up in gaming articles and stuff lately, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. See you guys in the next video, and have a good one. And yes, for a lot of you asking, a lot of N64 games are still mask ROMs.